Well, here it is, the beginning of 2011, and our featured vehicle is a 2012.
Well, we're miles away from 2012, but with this Mazda 5 time machine, we're all a year older. Now, I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
If only humans could play tricks with Father Time the way the auto industry does. A facelift is an option, and that is exactly what Mazda has done with the Mazda 5. A nip and tuck, a new heart, and attention to inner beauty help to update this practical family vehicle.
The Mazda 5 is based on the Mazda 3. It's got a higher roofline, a third row of seats, and sliding side doors, just like a minivan. Now, they're not powered, but they do open and close really easily. Now, it's this combination of fun and practicality that makes the Mazda 5 the #2 seller in the Mazda family. Mazda has taken some bold styling moves over the past few years. First with the introduction of the smiley front grille, and now with the introduction of their flow design, which is hoping to mimic nature and create an elegant look. The wave-shaped creases down the side of the Mazda 5 are meant to replicate ripples of water.
This new 2012 is built on the same platform as the outgoing 2010. The dimensions are roughly the same, but the introduction of this more fluid approach makes the Mazda 5 look more dainty, even feminine. The softer edges and horizontal taillights really make the Mazda 5 look like a small minivan compared to the tall wagon look of the previous model. The Mazda 3 was updated in 2010 with rave reviews for interior quality and layout. Based on the same platform, this new 2012 Mazda 5 model also receives a similar interior refresh. The buttons in the center stack are surrounded with simple chrome. The same high-mounted digital readout in the center of the dash is perfect for referencing climate, radio, and information.
The door and dash are soft to the touch and everything is well laid out. The seat sits up nice and high, so you've got great outward visibility. Now, one of the reasons that the Mazda 5 is so popular here in Canada is because of its efficient use of space. The side doors slide open just like a minivan, but the interior is more in line with a high station wagon. The third row of seats is best used on occasion because the cargo space behind the third row is rather small. It's best to buy a Mazda 5 as a 4-seater and keep the third row stored in the floor for more cargo space. But when needed, the third row is perfect for occasional use.
The Mazda didn't just focus on inner and outer beauty, they also gave the Mazda 5 a heart transplant. The same basic 2.5-liter 4-cylinder found in the higher-end versions of the Mazda 3 and also used in the base CX-7 crossover and Mazda 6 is now featured in the Mazda 5. The larger displacement engine has 157 horsepower and more torque at lower RPM, yet it's more efficient than the outgoing 2.3-liter engine. Now, this test unit comes equipped with a very smooth and effortless 6-speed manual transmission, but it can also be equipped with a 5-speed automatic. The timing of this new 2012 model isn't a coincidence. Ford, who also shares many platforms and components with Mazda, will also be bringing out a 3-row, 7-passenger vehicle similar in size and shape to the Mazda 5. This new vehicle is called Ford C-Max, and it's built off the new Ford Focus platform, where this Mazda 5 is based on the outgoing platform. Now, there's a reason why this Mazda 5 sells so well in Canada. It's the right size. It can move 6 people around. You don't have to spend the extra money to get a larger minivan. Plus, it uses an efficient 4-cylinder engine, and it's fun to drive. Now, I don't really understand some of the styling changes on the outside. They've made the back of this vehicle look more like a van, a traditional van. There's a certain segment of the population that just won't be caught dead in a van. The sportiness that this vehicle has always had is still intact.
Mazda places more emphasis on driving dynamics than a lot of the other manufacturers do, and it really shows, even in a family vehicle. It's got a lively engine, a smooth shifting manual transmission, and a great suspension setup. It's a lot of fun to throw around. With so few 6-passenger family vehicles offered with an efficient 4-cylinder, the Mazda 5 is a great vehicle for drivers that need functionality but don't want to forgo a bit of fun. This is a perfect car for a young family that needs a vehicle like this but doesn't want to give up on youth. On paper, the Mazda 5, even though it's been refreshed, isn't available with some of the features that the new C-Max will have. For example, the Ford will have a turbocharged engine, power liftgate, and 2 engine choices. With this in mind, it's surprising that there's no USB port or available navigation. What's really impressed me with this new Mazda 5 is how smooth and quiet it is, especially on the highway.
All right, Lacey, is the 2012 Mazda 5 a step in the right direction?
Well, you know what, Zach? I think it is. I've always loved the idea of the Mazda 5, and first of all, because of the functionality. It's a great size, very usable. The new 2.5-liter engine is so zippy. That sliding side door, again, even though it's not powered, it is very easy to open and close. And I really like the new exterior styling on the new 2012. And on the downside, there really isn't a lot that I don't like about the Mazda 5, but with the new C-Max coming out, we mentioned it before, it's kind of disappointing that there's no USB or even a navigation that's available on the new Mazda 5.
You're stealing what I was going to say about the dislikes, so I'll repeat them in a moment. First, what I like about this vehicle. I love the size of it. There's no wonder that it sells so well in Canada. It's a good, practical Canadian vehicle. $22,000 roughly is the starting price. It's very comfortable and it's refined on the inside. It's got that great engine, it's zippy, and it's actually quite fun to drive. It doesn't feel like a minivan, it feels more like a compact car. On the downside, I totally agree with you. No USB sounds like a small thing because you can't plug in your iPod or your phone, but for me, I couldn't charge my phone because I just plug it into the USB. Also, no Navi is available. That's fine if you can plug in your phone and use that, right? But the thing is, the styling I think is a little bit gimmicky. The side waves, I can kind of live with that, slightly gimmicky. The back though, they've gone from that tall wagon look to now a traditional minivan, quite dainty looking as well, which I think will eliminate some people from even considering this van. And the whole thing about going a year ahead and calling it a 2012, I'm not down with that. I don't want to age prematurely. I'm fine with being 38. I don't want to be 39.
Whatever.
Want to see how the old Mazda 5 stacks up against the new? See both reviews at drivingtelevision.com.